What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Offside and Out of Bounds. We are back, and we're here to talk the NBA trade deadline. I'm Adam.
I'm Junior.
Let's go!
You got to be aware of the inbounder here if you're Philly.
It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
Junior, what's going on, man? It's been a long time.
It has been a while. So sorry about this, guys. We're probably going to be a little bit rusty, but the content will still be on point.
We're going to shake it off. Today we're going to be talking about the trade deadline. NBA just finished. Some big moves, some not so big moves. Some people did something, some people did nothing. Let's jump right in and start talking about some of that because there were some interesting moves here. Obviously, the NBA has now a drama-filled organization and has been for quite some time. And some of those drama players moved. So I'll let you break down the first of the three trades we're going to kind of touch on here.
For sure. So this obviously didn't happen on deadline day. It happened a bit before that. So New Orleans ends up with C.J. McCollum, Larry Nance, Tony Snell, and coming from New Orleans to Portland, Josh Hart, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Thomas Satoransky. Poor guy got traded twice in a month. Marcos Lozada-Silva, who's basically nil in every stat column along the line. A first and two futures. I'd say just, Dame's buddy CJ on the move. I think the writing's on the wall in Portland, to say the least. What did you think about this trade?
However, they didn't move Dame. I think it was a little selfish of them to have moved McCollum and not given Dame the opportunity to get a fresh restart. He's kind of been in the wasteland there for a bit. There's a lot to unpack in this trade.
A lot, yeah.
I like McCollum going to New Orleans and, maybe giving some experience to a bit of that younger core team. But, a first and two futures as well to Portland, I don't know.
And Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's a young up-and-comer. I mean,
these guys can score too. I mean, the averages are there. They look good overall.
I think the one player in here who might actually get a big return for Portland is Satoransky. This is a guy who's a system basketball player. I mean, when you looked at his numbers when he was in Chicago, he was pretty on point. Like, that guy was 12 to 15 points, 8-9 rebounds. I mean, he was a decent guy off the bench in that second rotation. To see him jump around the way he has is kind of strange, but it all goes back to the end of the day. There's courses for horses, right? If you were the right guy in the right system on the right team, you're going to be a pro. If you're not, you're going to get buried on the bench.
We've seen what coaching and development and stuff like that can do for some of these players, and then it makes all the difference, right? So let's keep it moving here and go with probably the biggest trade, I think, and that's Ben Simmons, the pariah of the NBA, hasn't played this season for the 76ers. Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks for James Harden and Paul Millsap. I mean, this is the big story for today. Ben Simmons kind of, still has a ton of value, even though he hasn't played, still has great defensive ability, incredible passer. I think Seth Curry is really the surprising piece here for me, along with the 2 firsts. That's a lot. I think Philly gave up a lot here. However, what's the value of having a player that it's a bit of a cancer on the team, just with the drama that kind of brings that too. I definitely would want to be a little bit more clear-minded with it. And James Harden coming back and going over to Philly and playing with Joel Embiid, I think that's a great opportunity for the two of them to really get cracking.
I think everyone who was involved in this trade, the 2 big pieces being Harden and Simmons, both got what they want. For me, I mean, obviously I'll probably get into it a bit later, but I think this is a weird trade. There's some things going on here that maybe not a lot of people are keying in on just because of the marquee. They're looking at these big names and there's this could be a big issue for both of these teams going down the stretch.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's take a look at the third one. I'm going to pass it off to you here.
Okay, so again, this was not one that happened on deadline day. Kind of jumped out of nowhere too. So Pacers guard heavy now, picking up Halliburton. budding young superstar guard. Buddy Hield, guys averaging over 3 threes a game. Tristan Thompson, who's averaging more paternity lawsuits than he has points. However, he's going to Indiana now.
Surprisingly, rebounds down on Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, but I think everyone's
usually a very efficient rebounder.
Yeah. Going the other way, Sabonis. I like him. I think he's a mobile big man who can shoot the ball. He can screen and roll up top. I mean, the guy's got some good basketball IQ. Justin Holiday, who's just averaging a tick over 10 points, and Jeremy Lamb, who I think is about 7 or 8 points a game. Mm-hmm. To me, this is a basketball trade. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
You're getting talent for talent. I think Halliburton was a little bit hurt by the fact that he got shipped out because he put so much value and trust into that system. And then to get kicked out. And it's funny that Buddy Hield is on his way out too, because that was a piece that I think LA was trying to get after for a few years now, and they just were not interested in moving him. So to see him included in a Sabonis deal is kind of strange to me. I don't know, maybe know what's going on in Sacramento.
Sacramento's one of those teams, right? I mean, they just never can put something together and be consistent with what they do. And I hate to see Halliburton go from that team and Hield. I think that was a great opportunity for those guys in Sacramento to start building into the future. Obviously, I'm extremely sad about Sabonis not getting traded to the Raptors because he would have been the guy I would have liked to have seen. Yeah. Big fan of him, great rebounder, a little bit suspect on defense. However, we could have figured that out, especially in the system that we play defensively, but we'll touch on that in a bit.
That was almost like the idea they had with him and Miles Turner, where you had the suspect.
I've been okay with Miles Turner too,
but you had a shot blocker behind him that kind of protected that, cleaned up the glass. Just didn't work out for them.
And the reality is, if we were going to trade for somebody, you need somebody at a center position who can guard somebody like Joel Embiid, and Sabonis would not be that guy.
No.
Okay, so we have a winner here, I think, and we'll try to justify it, and we'll kind of play devil's advocate both ways, but the 76ers. So I'll make the case first. I'm going to say that they're the winner because they got rid of Ben Simmons. Just getting him off the team and not having to think about him, I think is just a huge relief mentally, and that's just a roadblock that they don't have to deal with going forward.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to make a case for them being a winner, I think they probably got the biggest talent that was traded on deadline day in a James Harden,
former MVP,
who is a double-double threat, triple-double potential type of player who's going to run the point in the offense for that team. He's had a bit of a down year, but obviously that three-headed monster in Brooklyn and all the issues that have been going on there probably weighed on his game a little bit more than maybe even he would admit.
Yeah, agree.
But, I mean, if I'm going to start off playing devil's advocate on the Philly side here, this absolutely makes no sense.
I mean, to give up Seth Curry and the picks, that's a lot. I think they could have probably pulled a little bit less off there.
You traded a guy who was holding out, who wasn't playing at all. So, yeah, okay, you may not have taken off of your roster, but you took a second rotation guy that shoots the ball really well. You took your backup center in Andre Drummond. You gave future picks, but you're hurting your current team, because when you look at Maxey right now, who has been absolutely phenomenal this year handling the ball. Like, look at his point production, look at his assist production.
Absolutely.
The kid has been balling out for the entire season, and bringing in a Harden, you're not just taking the ball out of Maxey's hand, you're now limiting the shot potential that Tobias Harris is going to have. So you're going to limit his effectiveness, because you got two guys on this team in Embiid and Harden who want the ball in their hands.
Yep.
So basically what you've done is you've traded out Ben Simmons, you traded out a shooter, a backup center, picks, to be stuck in the exact same situation you've been in for the last 3 or 4 years, where you've got two people who command the ball. I don't think this was a good trade, and I think this is going to drastically affect this team moving forward. I don't think this is a good trade.
Yeah,
that's just me, though.
If we're really breaking it down, it looks like Brooklyn really is the winner here. They're going to probably be able to retain Seth Curry long term. That's going to make them a very effective team. I never really liked Harden in Brooklyn. It just didn't feel right. Having to work with Kyrie when Kyrie is available, and Durant's just such a machine. Obviously out right now, but yeah, it's tough. I mean, time will tell. I think they're going to be still competitive into the playoffs and possibly go to the East Final. That's going to be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to talk about the guys going into Brooklyn, you've got a shooter now that's going to space the floor for KD whenever he ends up coming back. But now you've got a guy pulling a guy out of the key for KD to do what he does. And the fact that you don't have James Harden, who was just not happy in Brooklyn. I don't think he was happy that he even went there in the first place.
Exactly.
That team was never really together for that long. I think they played like 16 total games together.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, yeah, it was an experiment that just didn't work out. But I definitely think that Brooklyn, especially with those picks and the fact that their cap is where it is, to have some pretty high picks coming in is absolutely, strong for them, considering that deal that they did with Boston that completely screwed them over for many years.
Okay, let's look at the losers. I think we're probably going to be on the same page here. They needed to do something. They didn't. Dame was being talked for, a swap with Russ, but nobody wants that contract. Lakers did nothing. They're not looking good, sitting in 9th in the West right now. I mean, what should they have done?
This is a dumpster fire there. I'll tell you what I would have done. I would have figured out how to get Russ on the floor, because you've got a guy with a massive contract who has a lot of talent. Now, obviously, it's tough for him to play with marquee guys like an AD and LeBron.
He's a lone ranger, right?
He's a guy that likes to do his thing. But you got to get this guy on the floor. The fact that you're benching him, he's not playing closeout minutes, and you think you're going to get value for him when you try and trade that contract away, is just stupidity. Like, I don't know what, and even Magic always comes out and says something like, this is ridiculous. Like, I don't know what's going on here. Someone's got to tap Ty Lue on the shoulder and say, hey, we need to trade this guy. Can you play him in the fourth quarter? Like, are you kidding me? The guy still has a good field goal percentage. Yeah, he's not shooting the ball as much, but on a team with AD and LeBron, you aren't going to be shooting the ball as much. So thanks very much for that. His ability to drive the lane's not going to be there, because you got AD bringing that big man down into the lane. So his game is ineffective on a team like LA. So we talked about horses for courses. Russ is not meant to be in a system with two big men who like to wander the floor. He needs to have a set offense that he's running, or he needs an offense that he can just go on the flow and just create that whatever he's got to do.
He needs a couple of wing shooters that are just set there ready for him to run and dish when he gets caught and dribbling with his head down once in a while.
Like, with the way the teams are out there right now, I would like him back in Houston, or I would like to see him even in Sacramento with Sabonis, because you've got a mobile big man down there that can pull guys out of the lane, come back in. The pick and roll, screen and roll. I think that would be a good duo for him, because I think if you look back to the Oklahoma City days, Russ played really well with Steven Adams, just because Steven Adams had the ability to pull guys out. He could, he was not as mobile, but he was still pretty mobile for a big man.
Cool. Okay, let's talk. We always want to touch on the Raptors. That's our team. We're from Toronto. We're going to touch on that now. So Thad Young and Eubanks, which we waived for Dragic. And we gave up a pick, which is protected if it falls within 14, I think. And then if it goes the second year, I think it goes outside of that, which we're probably going to end up with a pick around the 20th pick, I would say, anyways. So Dragic probably likely to get waived anyways.
He'll get bought out.
Or bought out, sorry.
He'll get bought out. You'll see him in Dallas or Miami.
So what do you think was the value here? Do you like this trade?
I think it was necessary. I would have thought they might have gotten a bit of a better return than Thad Young.
There was talks of
Nurkic,
Noel.
Yeah. Another team that didn't do anything in the Knicks.
Also big losers,
might get hurt by that. There were all kinds of rumors swirling around. I think at this point it was clear to see that Dragic was not going to play another game in a Raptors uniform, and they had to do something with it. So why have an expiring piece sitting on the bench not doing anything, especially with the way this team's playing 7 in a row, and they've just been the rotations are nice and tight, and everyone's getting the playing time they need, and you're looking at 3-4 guys potentially in double digits every night, and so I mean it's tough. He's not going to get the minutes. On a young team like like San Antonio, he might be a welcomed addition, but again, that's not going to happen.
He's not going to have the attitude to want to play there. They'll likely buy him out, and Dallas will pick him up, or maybe Miami.
Then my only thing is that you look at the situation in Dallas, he's going to be stuck behind a lot of guys.
He'll probably be the second guy running the offense, I would imagine.
I don't know. When you got Maxi Kleber and Finney Smith there, he might still be pretty deep in the depth charts, even though he wants to play with Luka. And then if he looks at Miami, you want to talk about being stuck on the depth chart. He's going to be on the bench 2-3 minutes a night, like Duncan Robinson, Hero.
He probably just likes the warm weather down there, right?
That could pretty much be it. But,
I mean, this was really like almost a non-trade, right? I mean, Thad Young's going to be coming behind Boucher and Chua. I mean, he's not going to get, I don't think, a ton of minutes. I mean, he's a decent defender and an okay passer, but...
Well, I mean, he's
33 years old.
Yeah, he's an older guy, but he's also coming off a few good years in Chicago before he started bouncing around. But when you think Thad Young, like I'm thinking Indiana Pacer days when he was an absolute beast.
The glory days.
Yeah, they're long gone. So expiring contract. So I mean, he's going to be off the books in the summer. Eubank's already gone. So really, it was for nothing.
Yeah,
but.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Raptors still look strong. I think they're going to be positioned very well still going into the playoffs. So I don't see any issues there. I think we're going to continue to play very well. So
yeah.
And big kudos to Fred VanVleet, All-Star. I can't remember who the last All-Star. Big Ben. Big Ben was the last undrafted All-Star.
Yes. Yeah.
Ben Wallace from the Detroit Pistons, who
big nasty Ben.
Did they go back to back that year?
With Rip, yeah, I think so.
I think they went back to back. Yeah. He's an incredible defender. So kudos to Fred VanVleet. Any final words?
It's good to be back. I hope you've missed us and you're ready for us because we've got a ton of content coming.
Yes.
Like landslide amount of content. I think next we're talking about Super Bowl.
We're going to do Super Bowl. We're going to do the All-Star. That's kind of our anniversary show, if you will. That was the first time we dropped the show last year. So we'll be back. We'll clean it up for you guys. We'll tighten it up a little bit. We're just getting the swing of things, just shaking the rust off. But thank you so much for joining us. We, of course, appreciate it. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe below. Follow us on Instagram. We're going to be pumping that back up. And that's it for me. I'm Adam.
I'm Junior, and we are going to see you
real
soon.